Hey, what's up everybody? So in the last video, I kind of took you guys through a quick how to set up Saga. And in this one, we're going to play through a little bit of the campaign just to give you guys an idea of how this all works, because I'm sure it's very confusing. So in this instance, I'm going to be the DM or enemy hero player, and I am going to be playing against a team of, let's just say it's Jeff and Chris over here, my two friends. Jeff's playing Bravo, and Chris is playing Dorinthia. And so we are going to start playing through the campaign. So I have the Saga deck here, I have the loot deck, our tokens, my enemy weapons, and then I'm going to put all of my enemy decks over here. If I had a third player, I'd set them off the side, but we're just going to keep them here for now since the space isn't being used. Their starting life totals are set, so 40 and 40 life. And that is from the 80 total life split in two because of two players, and then they have their equipment set up in which they're free to choose during an enemy encounter. So let's start playing Path of Fortune Vulras Dungeon. And so what we're going to do is, I'm the DM here. All I'm going to do with the Saga decks is as I play cards, or we encounter new cards in the Saga deck, I'm just going to take the top card off the deck, flip it, put it right next to it, and then we're going to go through the card. So this is the entrance of Volrath Dungeon. So I'm actually going to read through the flavor text here because that was kind of the intentional design, and then we're going to go through the actions of the card. So you have entered the castle of Volrath, the prince. His dungeon may reward you with great treasure or bury you with everlasting agony. And so we're going to move to hallway number 1 when everyone is ready. All right, so Chris, Jeff, are you guys ready to move to hallway number 1? They say, yep. All right, let's go to move hallway number 1. So let's see what dungeon, if I can pull off the tab, there we go. Let's see what Volras Dungeon has in store for us. Hallway number 1, here we go. A dimly lit, narrow hallway. Before continuing on, you discover a loose brick in the wall, revealing a hidden chest. And so the action for this card, hallway number 1, is loot 4 cards. So I'll read through that reminder text here. The allied team draws a total of 4 cards from the loot deck, then distributes them amongst heroes however they would like. And so before we move on to hallway number 2, we're going to have this action resolve, and then we're going to make sure all the players are ready to continue on. So the way loot deck works from drawing it is that, as it says, we're going to draw 4 cards from the loot deck. It goes to the players, and then they get to choose whatever they want to keep, whatever they want to get rid of. So I did shuffle this, but let's shuffle it again. And I'm just going to draw the 4 cards here for me, and we can see if we want to keep them. All right, so this actually has some good stuff here. So hit and run. For Dorinthia, let's say that Dorinthia is like, yes, or Chris here, playing Dorinthia, is like, yes, I want to keep the hit and run. Definitely want that card. So that's going to go, he doesn't even want to switch anything out. He wants that to go straight to his deck, increasing his deck count to 21. Raging Onslaught. This isn't really going to work for, well, actually, this could work okay for Bravo. It is a blue pitch with a 3 pitch cost, or a 3 card cost. 5 damage isn't anything too crazy with no ability. It's okay, but if we wanted to increase our deck count later on, maybe we want to use it. So we're just going to include this into our armory for right now, because a card might be fine if we need to increase deck count later on, just to not fatigue out. But it's not anything too great for us. It's just an okay card. Rapid Fire. We have no ranger players, so we don't want this one. And so we're just going to put this right over here. This is going to be the discard pile. If we ever move through the entire loot deck, all the discard pile cards will just reshuffle and go back to the loot deck. In this campaign, you won't. And then we have Enlightened Strike. So this is a fantastic card. Obviously, for Bravo, it doesn't have the 3 costs that we want. While it's certainly okay in the deck, I think we're going to just give this one to Dorinthia. It's not, of course, a weapon attack, but I think it'll work better in her deck as some extended reach in case we don't have any really good reactions or anything. So Dorinthia will just add that to her deck. If we decide later on that we're playing through it and really Enlightened Strike doesn't do what I want this deck to do, we can always take it out and put it in our armory, or we can give it to another player, whatever, or we can just get rid of it. What we choose, we want to keep it now. So the loot 4 cards has resolved. The players have done what they wanted with the cards, and then now that they're ready, we're going to continue on to hallway number 2. So move to hallway number 2. I can never pick these up right. Like, it always wants to pick the whole deck. Okay. Hallway number 2. Before you can pass, an undead servant approaches with a deathly growl. You must defeat it to continue on your journey. So, the action for this saga card is Face the Servant, Enemy Hero. So the reminder text here is begin a game of Flesh and Blood against the Servant, the next card in the saga deck. The allied team sets their decks and equipment after the enemy hero is revealed. And so in this instance, the Servant is going to be the next card in the saga deck. And future cards, whenever it just says face an enemy hero or a specific enemy hero, it's going to be randomized from our enemy hero decks. And so what we're going to do is we're going to leave hallway number 2 right here. We're going to take this top card off, and we're going to put it right here in our enemy hero slot. So this is the Servant. And so the Servant has Arcane Barrier X, just like every other enemy hero in the game. The Servant cannot equip a weapon, so he will not have a weapon to play. And he'll have a 10-card starting deck. They'll get 1 prize card if they defeat it, and then he has 3 health and 3 intellect. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to cut 10 cards from the top. So I can't cut just 10, so we're going to cut 9, and then we're going to add 1. So we'll take this top part off. We're going to put here in our deck slot. We're going to take 1 off, and we're going to move our loot deck back up. And so let's get our life counter here. We're going to set it to 3. And then what I'm going to do before I start is that since the loot deck can contain equipment, we're going to search through our 10-card deck to make sure, to see if we have any equipment. And then it also gives us an idea of what our deck has. So we do have some equipment here. We have Snapdragon Scalers, and we have Heart and Cross Trap. So we're going to go ahead and put those into our equipment set. Now you can, you certainly can. I don't think there's probably any reason you don't want to start with anything, but you certainly could decide not to start with it, I guess. Wow, we actually have a lot. We have Hope Merchant's Hood as well. And so I think that's it, right? And so you can kind of see what else your deck has too. This is going to be a really small deck for us. But we have some Ninja, we have some Guardian stuff. Oh, wow, did I just miss? I missed the Storm Striders too. Okay. Snapdragon Scalers with cost 1 or less gains go again. Arcane Barrier 2, we're not facing anything. Play your next Wizard non-attack. I don't think we have any Wizard cards. Oh, we have 1. Wizard non-attack. Action cards turn as though it were an instant. I don't really know that that's gonna. I guess we could use that. That's fine. Let's start with this. So whenever you have 2 cards that are multiple equipment slots, you're just going to choose whichever one to go on top. If I end up destroying Storm Striders, right, through its ability, I'll actually have access then to the Snapdragon Scaler, so it'll go top down. It gives your enemy heroes a little bit of extra play reach and stuff. You won't encounter this very often. So we're going to only have 6 cards starting deck. Okay. So I am set as the enemy hero, and now this is where the players can set their builds, set their equipment, right? If I had arcane damage to start in terms of like an ability, they might want to say, hey, let's get rid of all of our other equipment and swap out to a full Nulrun set. Whatever else they want to do. But in this instance, they say, yep, we're good to start. So their decks are going to be shuffled, right? And we're going to play the game. So this one will be a quick one because the Servant has, only 3 health and he's pretty easy. So we're going to roll the dice to see who wants to go first. And let's not roll it on the top of the card. So me as the enemy hero, I'm going to roll a 1, and the allied team rolls as 1. So they roll a 3. So they get to decide whether they want to go second or which person on the team wants to go first. So let's just say it's Bravo's going to want to go first here. He usually has some pretty good starting plays, and I'll kind of show you why. And so he is going to get his 4 cards. Normally, obviously I wouldn't be able to see them, but because I'm playing the allied hero right now, I'm just going to pull them out so I can see what they are to control their turn. And then I'm going to pull Dorinthia's here too, and I'll kind of show you why. It's going to be a really cool thing. This is one of the extra features that I'll get in here of, okay, can we not do this? Yes, there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to draw my 3 cards from my 3 intellect. And so Bravo gets to go first here. So the way turn order is going to work with multiple players is that it's going to be rotated around the enemy hero's turn. So Bravo would get to go first here since they won the roll. He decides he's going to go first, and then it would be my turn as the enemy hero, and then it would be Dorinthia's turn, and then my turn as the enemy hero, and then back to Bravo. So there's a rotation of turns here. And so the more players you have, the more turns the enemy hero gets to take in between one specific hero. The difference here is that as you have allied heroes, you can defend for and play defense reactions and attack reactions for those allied heroes. Let's play an example. Let's say that Bravo didn't get to go first here. I won the roll. I'm going first. And so in this instance, let's do Aether, Rousing Aether here in just a sec, because I'll talk about Arcane, how that works with Arcane. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play Head Jab, and I'm going to target Bravo, right? So I'm coming in for 3 damage at Bravo. And let's say that he's like, man, I've got a great hand. Not in this instance, but let's just pretend he has a great hand. He doesn't want to play any of his cards. And he says, hey, Chris, is there anything you could defend me with? Because I need all 4 of these cards to play this really big turn next. And Chris is like, yeah, you know what, sure. I don't really need 2 sharpened steels here. So what Chris gets to do is defend for Bravo. So he can defend for this. The reasoning for this rule of being able to play attack reactions or defense reactions or defend for heroes is that I can target multiple hero or the same hero multiple times before they can even take their turn. So I could say, hey, I'm coming at Bravo. Chris says he's going to defend. And then next turn, Bravo gets to go. When it's my turn again, I'm going to come at Bravo again. And then if he has another strong hand, Chris can say, hey, I'm going to defend for you again. And so you kind of have this balance of you can defend for heroes, so you have extra people that can help you kind of last through the game, but is going to cost them cards, right? And so that's sort of the balance that you're going to have to strike or, play with as you play through this. So it's very much a sort of back and forth of using each other's resources to kind of help you. What you can't do is you can't attack for your friends, right? And you can't pitch for them. So I can't generate resource for, Bravo to play Chokeslam or something. He's got to be able to do that himself. I can only defend for him. I can only play defense reactions and attack reactions. There's not a whole lot of attack reactions that I can play. But let's just say, let's see, does he have any? Okay, so let's just say Iron Song response here. Let's say as Bravo, I swung in with a Nothos and it got its buff or whatever. So I'm coming in for 6 damage. During the attack reaction step, I as Dorinthia over here, or Chris as Dorinthia rather, could play Iron Song response, assuming that I defended with something from my hand, and it would give a Nothos +1 damage. So as long as it can be applicable, it'll work. Now I can't use this if it said target weapon I control. It would have to just generally say target weapon so that it becomes a valid target. And so that's kind of a way to help buff your attacks. So Dorinthia is kind of cool in that, she has ways to play a little bit better support in terms of damage buffing. Let's just assume real quick I didn't play this and I wanted to start with playing Rousing Aether, and I wanted to come in, I was going to pitch Pedal to the Metal for it. And I'm coming in for 4 arcane damage at Bravo. Now, he would be the only one to be able to prevent that arcane damage. As I said, because you can't pitch for other players, I can't, as Dorinthia, with Arcane Barrier 1, pitch to block some of that arcane barrier. It only works with defending. And just the reason, for that being is that, Arcane, this is helping protect her with pitch resource, and so it just thematically doesn't, line up to make sense in that regard. And so arcane damage is, obviously you're going to run into it much less, but it is much harder to deal with in the game here versus, you know, just regular damage. And so Bravo at this point could only, you know, prevent 1 of that damage. He'd end up taking 3 damage from that if he wanted to prevent 1 of that. So yeah, so defense reaction, attack reaction, no pitching, no attacking for, and no help prevention of Arcane Barrier unless I, you know, add another card that, as a played card, could prevent, you know, any type of damage from any type of source or whatever like that. But I just can't pitch if I have Arcane Barrier, because Arcane Barrier is only something that affects me. It doesn't affect my, you know, my other players. So let's pull all that back here, and let's actually go through the match real quick, just because. Yeah, so it's Bravo's turn here, and he's gonna go ahead and say, let me see what I got here. I got a choke slam for 6. That seems pretty decent. Oh, I've got a debilitate for 6. Let's go ahead and we're gonna play debilitate. So what we're gonna do is we're going to activate his ability. So we're gonna pitch Blessing of Deliverance. We've got 1 floating resource here. So the next attack action card, or your attack action cards that cost 3 or greater, gain Dominate. So that's all of them. And so then we're going to pitch Stonewall Confidence with that other floating resource, and we're going to play Debilitate for 6 Dominate. And so I don't have anything that can defend from my equipment, and the most I can block with is 3. And so, right, well, I'm just gonna defend for 3. Debilitate does 3 damage, and that's it, right? Quick and easy, 1 turn, 1 turn match there. And so the Servant is defeated. And these are, what we're going to do is we're going to organize all of the cards from the Servant's deck here. So first off, Bravo, winning the killing blow here, gets to get all the equipment. So Hope Merchant's Hood, not sure that I really want that, but Dorinthia may. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to, we'll just give it to her Armory for now. Before her next encounter, she could, you know, swap out to it, but she doesn't want to wear it now. Heart and Cross Trap, next attack action card you play this turn costs 2 less to play. Go again. That seems pretty solid, so I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep that in our Armory, and I might switch out for the next encounter. Storm Shredders doesn't benefit anyone, so unfortunately this legendary is going away. And Snapdragon Scalers, target attack action card costs 1 or less gains, go again. That would work pretty well with our Enlightened Strike for Dorinthia's deck, but we don't really have a lot of attack action cards for Dorinthia. So what we'll do for her for now is just, we'll go ahead and put that in the Armory, because we kind of want to keep it because it's a powerful card, but it might not benefit us. And so now what they get to do is each hero gets to choose a prize card. So we're going to look at the prize cards here. So they can choose one of any of these 6, right? Unfortunately, there's really not anything here for Dorinthia. The only thing would be a Wounding Blow, but it's not that great. It does benefit from Snapdragon, but not really something too great for her deck. So I think we're going to pass on a prize card for Dorinthia for now, because there isn't a second card that would really benefit Bravo either. But Bravo getting Mangle here is pretty sweet. So we're going to go ahead and just take that card for Bravo, and we're going to pass on Dorinthia's prize. So all of these cards are going to go to discard, and we're going to add this straight to Bravo's deck. And so what we'll do now is we'll just put all of our cards back into the deck here, and we'll put all of our cards, okay. I hate when that happens. It happens like, oh brother, are you okay. Well, I didn't want that to happen off the bat here, but we're gonna figure this out real quick. Can I just, what's the best way to do this, guys? Draw 22? No? Let's put this over here. Well, anyway, you don't want to spread the cards, let me tell you that, because then it becomes really difficult to put everything back together. Okay. Can I separate this? Is there a way to separate now? Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do here. Anyway, what else can I talk about here? So that would basically be the end of this encounter. And so as we're finished, you know, putting our decks, any kind of cards we wanted to keep either into our decks or our armory, we can then continue on to the movement part of the card. And so this is where you're gonna, you know, Saga is just a kind of a collection of multiple games of Flesh and Blood into you know, one large experience that, you know, you're gonna play over the course of a night, right? For like, I think this campaign, playing through it efficiently, is there we go. There's our Dorinthia card here. 4 to 6 hours, I think. So you definitely gonna wanna, you know, extra time on it. Anyway, so we have defeated the Servant. And so you can, honestly, at this point, since you're not going to be encountering a Servant anymore, you can go ahead and delete it. It's fine. You can always respawn it, but you don't need it. So the only action for this top part of the card was face a Servant, enemy hero. So once that's resolved and all our players are ready, they can then move to the next part of the deck. So we're going to move to Common Room number 1. Alright, so Common Room number 1, each hero gains 1 life. And so some of the Saga cards like this will have life gain, they'll have token creation, you might have different little encounters here. Just there's a lot of design space, you know, that you can utilize to kind of give extra things to the game instead of just, you know, you're not going to be facing enemy heroes in every single Saga card here because that would be kind of crazy. So they're both going to gain 1 life, pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and read the flavor text here. So this common room is home to an open cupboard filled with war rations. After scarfing one down, you embark on your first set of trials. All right, so we are moving to Path of Fortune number 1. I'm going to get to, I think, one more enemy encounter just to kind of show you how to set that up. And then that's basically, I think, the run through. All right, so loot 4 cards, Path of Fortune number 1. Let's go through the flavor text. You enter the Path of Fortune to find a book of spells on an altar. Well, that was easy. So loot 4 cards. So that allied team is going to then loot 4 from the top of the deck. So I know I'm seeing these. Oh, wow. I know I'm seeing these here myself. Normally, as the DM, I wouldn't be seeing all these cards. They would. I'm reading the cards off. They draw the loot cards or loot the 4 cards. Then they keep them however they want. And, you know, I don't see any of this. But because I'm the only one playing here. All right, so what do we got? We've got some Guardian stuff here. So we've got red Stonewall Confidence. So one thing about the loot deck is that everything in here is technically going to be an upgrade minus, I think there's 1 rare per each starting deck that has an additional copy if it's like a good card. So I think Blue Flick Flack is a card that Ninja starts with. There's also a copy in here. There's 1 Guardian card too. But we have red Stonewall Confidence. So, you know, if I wanted to play more of a support Guardian where I wanted to focus on defending my teammates more so that they could spend all their damage, this would be a fantastic card to play for me. In this instance right here, let's just say I'm not. I want to go heavy on the damage and I want to rely on Dorinthia for support. So I'm going to add this to my armory though. Rusted Relic, not a great card per se, you know, but it is an additional source of some arcane barrier, which could be good at some point in the game. We're gonna go ahead and keep this. Let's give it to Dorinthia. Let's just say that Chris here wants to keep that one. Tectonic Plating, fantastic. We're gonna already go ahead and just keep that. So we're gonna move Iron Rot Plate back. Now I can do this at the beginning of each encounter if I wanted to, but I'm just gonna set it now. So early on to the game, Guardian has already encountered his legendary. Super cool. That's going to be a huge boost to his damage output. Maybe not a huge boost, but it's definitely going to help. And Breakneck Battery. This isn't going to be useful for anyone, so it's going to go straight to the discard. So now that we've looted 4 cards, we put them in wherever zones that we want to put them in. We are ready to move to Path of Fortune number 2. And here we go. So, face an enemy hero. If defeated, loot 4 cards. And so in this action, we're going to face that hero. We'll have a game of Flesh and Blood. And then if that enemy hero is defeated, they'll get to loot 4 cards, in addition to getting that enemy's prize card. And then once that whole action, everything is resolved, and they're ready, they can move on to Path of Fortune number 3. So our flavor text here is that a fresh roll of bread on the table? Am I dreaming? As you reach for the bread, you see another hand reaching across from you. All right, and so I'll show you here how to randomize the decks. Pretty simple. And so we're facing an enemy hero, right? So this will specify, the Saga cards will always specify what class of enemy hero you're going to face, or subtype, whatever you want to call it. So we're looking for our enemy hero deck. So here's our enemy hero deck. So we're going to drag this whole thing over to our hero slot. We're going to shuffle, and we're just going to flip. And so we will be facing the Guardian. So his ability is just Arcane Barrier X, and then he has a 10-card starting deck and a 1-card prize pool. And then he'll have 7 life and 3 intellect. And then his random weapon will be, he gets a Zephyr Needle. So since it's a one-handed weapon, we're going to drag, and then he'll also get a Mandible Claw. And like I explained before, if this was a two-handed, we would just shuffle this until we reached a one-handed weapon. So they're always going to get two one-handed weapons or 1 two-handed weapon. And where did the Cartilage Crush come from? I think, was this in his deck? I think it was in his deck. Yeah, it was. Okay. Yeah, and so we would cut our 10-card deck. Hey, I got a 10-card out of it perfectly. Sweet. Move it over, move it over. Let's move this back up, just in case we have equipment. And then we're going to search it just to make sure we do or don't have any equipment. Nope, no starting equipment. And we can kind of see what we have here. Sometimes it's really good. So if you have like Overloop that has boost, you know, am I going to want to potentially activate this boost if I have Mechanologist cards? So I do actually have 2 other Mechanologist cards in here, so I actually might want to activate this boost or go for it if I played out this game. So it's a good way to kind of see what kind of strategy you might have. You know, I wouldn't spend too much time on it. As the enemy hero player, you're going to play through a lot of stuff, and it's always going to be pretty simple as you're just trying to find your best attack to bring their lives down as much as you can. But yeah, so we would go ahead, we'd shuffle that, shuffle their decks, and then we would start the game as normal. And then, you know, let's say, hey, we defeated him, right? They rolled, they did their stuff, played out their game, they defeated him. That would, sorry, I got distracted from something. They would get to choose their prize cards. So let's just say that, well, we have Stamp of Authority. I've never really fell in love with that card, but, you know, let's say Bravo just wants to keep it. I don't think there's anything else for him here. Come to Fight is, I've had success in some instances, but you know, just not costing 3 or more is kind of tough. But we're gonna give, let's see, we have a Blue Razor Reflex. It's actually not too bad. It's not great, but that could be a Dorinthia card, or we could go with Come to Fight. She doesn't really have a lot of attack attack action cards to play. So I think what we're going to do is just take the Razor Reflex for her. So let's say, you know, they both won, like I said. He's going to put this in his armory. He wants to have it, but doesn't want to put it in his deck yet. And then we would loot the 4 cards. And so in this instance, Demolition Crew, not really what I want for either of them. So nothing here, so it's a whiff. And so sometimes that'll happen, you know. The more players you play, obviously, the more opportunity you might have to upgrade their decks. But of course, the less cards you might get to get overall, right? So if I just drew this 4 cards and I had like 4 warrior cards, well, Dorinthia would get to get all of them. But you know, we whiff and you whiff and you don't really get anything here. So less players, you get more cards, but the more players, you've got more chances to upgrade those decks. So That's typically how the playthrough will go, and you'll go through it, and you'll just continue to, you know, the top actions, play through those, they resolve, whether they are just things like life gain or token creation, or enemy encounters, or whatever it says, and then you'll move to the next card. And so, kind of the goal here is, you know, as I kind of stated, to get to the end of the campaign, to beat the final boss, and to upgrade your decks and just have a fun time. The I wanted I originally had a cube, you know, kind of design for this whole thing, or not this specifically, just for Flesh and Blood, because I like cube a lot, and so this is kind of what it evolved to. So it's a, for me, it's fun to kind of simulate a draft experience over the course of like a bunch of games, you know. So here and there you're gonna upgrade stuff here, you know, weapons, equipment, maybe not weapons right now, but equipment, cards and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I'll you know, as I do more content here, I might release more videos, FAQs on stuff, anything you guys have, since I know this is kind of a lot to add to the game, but once you play it, it's pretty simple, it's pretty linear as you go through, and so I hope you guys like it, and if you know, anybody is likes this kind of thing and this kind of creation, then, you know, I'd hope at some point, you know, I'll have more campaigns that I'll be releasing and stuff, as long as people are interested. But, you know, this is kind of open to anyone to create these campaigns. All the cards are in Magic Set Editor, so you can get that for free online, and you know, just have fun with it. That'd be really cool if, oh, there's just dozens of campaigns out there in different universes or whatever. The other one that I need to finish formatting, but I created, was one set in the 1980s. It's kind of like a Stranger Things feel to it with aliens and stuff. So, you know, it's as creative as you want it to be. But I think that's generally it. And so I'm sure there's maybe some little thing that I forgot or something. So I'll answer whatever questions and try to update the rules as much as I can in the document that I have, and FAQ and all that. But hope you guys enjoyed, and you know, excited to see what you guys think. So as always, cheers. Catch you guys later.